Pokemon is Pokemon, so sometimes that's good. Other times it's literal brain cancer. But you know, being one of the most profitable franchises on the face of the planet does come with some benefits. Nice talk for they have the power and zero restrictions to do whatever they want. Animation, video games, TV shows, movies. They're allowed to make a bajillion movies and the longest running anime series since One Piece when they got the mad cash to back it up. Seriously, this franchise has done a ton of stuff over its varied history. I could talk about Pokemon all day. It's like a Hydra head. You cancel one, you get 3 more projects on the way. There's no stopping it. And for the newest Pokemon venture, we just have to hop over to an island resort for Pokemon Concierge. Stemming from a joint venture between Netflix and the Pokemon Company, who both deemed it was Dwarf Studios to be the one to animate the project. Just don't Google Dwarf Studios, you'll just get Dwarf Animation Studio, who worked on stuff that sounded French. I kinda made a video talking about one of their projects, if you wanna click and see, you know what I mean, eh? And so it fooled me into thinking that they made this show. I mean, come on, look, there's French words. It has to be, right? But eventually, after no one mentioned the show on their website, which I thought it was weird because Pokemon, you think it'd be a big deal? I dedicated the next half hour scouring for info since I guess studios who make our entertainment don't get so much as a blurb on Wikipedia while we got a whole damn article on Flappy Bird. And yeah, I found it. All you have to do is just put Japan and you get it. Dwarf Studios is a relatively niche production studio, most known for working on Rilakkuma and some other anime, like the Beastars opening, which I guess came back to bite me all these years because I remember watching that OP and I thought it was really good, so I guess it's fitting. Well damn, now I gotta watch it. And it's not too much of a binge, so let's give a glance over to this resort and see if it's as cozy as they say it is. The general plot can be summed up by busy city girl who has the worst life known to man and my greatest fears of adulthood imaginable, snagging a job at the Pokemon Resort as a concierge, which is French for well helper lady, and so has to make sure that everyone is having a chill time, especially the Pokemon, because the last thing you need is a pissed off Groudon. And man, the vibes are checked. This show is a comfy delight. And animation is deadlifting a great deal here. The mood would have been so much different if any other medium or style had been used, which isn't bad necessarily, I'm not dissing any style here, but there was a smart choice with this studio in general. They really excel in emphasizing the handcrafted personal feeling with their animation. It's more like Aardman than Laika, where the latter is much more clean and boundary pushing in terms of what the craft is capable of, while the former sticks to a specific style that always reminds you of the appeal of stop motion, which is its timelessness and down-to-earth feeling by nature. Just little touches that help support the layers of charm at work here, like the character designs and the different clothes they wear, the fabrics being apparent and noticeable on the different Pokemon, like damn, that Pikachu do be looking huggable, and the environment. I also appreciate the slips they got past me. Would have never guessed how much they use green screens. I am a better man, I can't admit when I've been duped. And I praise you for it. It's smart when you could trick the audience while they could say junk like, oh, screen, how cheap. Which, immediately, I'm one of those guys. Yeah, you know. You can tell they cared a lot when they put in the extra mile to make sure Pokemon pillows look like pillows and not just tiny, not breathing regular Pokemon. I also just find Haru, the girl I mentioned, super enjoyable. She's an overall good protagonist, I don't know, I like her. I like that period where she needs to adjust and change her views on life to suit what the hotel is all about, which is chilling, relaxing, being cool, just living life. Like that feeling of staying up super late to try to impress or get a task done at hand.
I have not slept for a week.
It's like what 90% of us do. Come on, don't lie guys. I won't tell on your parents if you don't tell on my parents. Deal? Yeah. And there's some life lessons on how we could all learn to live in the moment and that maybe just grooving and living is the best facet of life. None of which I'll take to my own because society. Oh yeah, society. Yeah. The plot is actually kind of simple when you break it down. The first half is really dedicated to setting up the status quo, you know, how these characters act, the general idea, and sets, and everything, and the second half to be the actual execution of the premise that you probably clicked on to see in the first place, which is, this girl helps these Pokemon. But outside of that basic rundown, there isn't much in terms of a plot. No one outside of Haru herself and some one-off characters get arcs or developments, so all we're left is this nice fluff. Sure, things happen. I don't want to say we're aimless here, but the plot just takes a backseat without a clear set of goals. Those bits let me soak in that atmosphere the show builds up and makes me appreciate this craftsmanship even more. All the little Pokemon here add some life to the resort, and it feels like a bustling yet quaint little place. You know, like a resort should. Or at least that's what I think a resort should be like. I don't know, I'm a YouTuber, how much do you think I get paid? I think the 4th episode is the best on dishing out what I expected the show to be, in which we try to help this introvert Pikachu gain his voice. But none of the episodes are bad per se. There's a ton of sweet moments here that clicked for me, like how Haru helps Psyduck with their headaches and also just being more social. This Magikarp with a My only issue is that I wanted more. No, literally, I wanted more. There's only 4 episodes of this thing. This really does hurt the show in my mind since this is Pokemon. There's a ton of them to pull from that could have made for fun episodes. Heck, the show even tells us a couple that I wouldn't be against watching. And without that further runtime, it's a bit harder to connect to these characters with the limited screen time that they have. Ironically, Ted the TV show is one that has 50-minute episodes, even though there's only like 7. So it feels more substantial as a result of that. Here, these are like less than half an hour at most, so like, that's really surprising to see. I know certain anime that let me click with their characters and appreciate the time I have with them, but this series does feel like a short visit that I wish I could have stayed longer. Nonetheless, what can you do? I know animation takes a while and no doubt plays a part, and money shouldn't be as big of a factor since it's Netflix and the Pokemon Company, but we know how they both are when it comes to budgeting, so... But judging how Rilakkuma and Kaoru had 13 episodes for one season and 8 for another, it does make me wonder if one company or another were the ones to mandate an episode rule or stricter budget than it being strictly a creative choice. Though that's just speculation. Maybe the creators had intended for this to be the amount, which I can respect, you know, I'm not gonna argue against it. I'm just saying, I would have loved more. It only stings since I love these characters and I wouldn't be averse to learning a bit more about them. We never get to hear about what they did before joining a resort like Haru did, or maybe just little life stories like we saw before, since the only thing I got from these two were the relaxed dude bro and the slightly stern experienced one. So yeah, some stuff is flawed, some characters are flat in nature, and it's stupidly short, but damn it, this resort is lived in, and I wish it was real, dang it. I say watch it for the visuals alone. Stop motion is a dying art, so to see this show do well is a treat of itself. If you get along with what the show provides, great! So with that short length, there isn't any harm with giving this a shot. And as an experienced guy myself, I feel like these kind of shows, the kind that focus on that slice of life comfort, can mean as much as shows on the opposite spectrums, like Devilman Crybaby or Carol and the End of the World. They both show different aspects of humanity, in the same way we can create atrocities or ponder about the meaning of living itself. We can also just vibe along and simply exist for the small things in life. I mean, it's better than Don't Look Up. Yeah, I'm saying it, that's not a very good movie. Yeah, I sure love living in a reality that is my own because satire, yeah, I love satire, yeah. So in conclusion, watch Pokemon Concierge, because I guarantee you that you'll see Ditto, who I know... Wait a minute, I wrote the wrong Pokemon, no. Diglett, I meant to spell Diglett, not Ditto, no. I ruined it.